Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the NXT review for the 2nd of December 2020. Can't believe we'll be in 2021 in a matter of weeks. Hopefully, you're having a good holiday season as best we can in this worldwide pandemic. Anyway, speaking of things that are rather abysmal, this NXT show going into the War Games on Sunday is, well, especially in comparison with the AEW show, it's like Ice Cream and Horse Manure to steal a Bobby Heenan line. So, I mean, basically, the show begins with a whole bunch of people, including Triple H, Shawn Michaels, gathered on stage. They honor Pat Patterson, who passed away today. Pat Patterson, probably one of the most influential people in the last, what, 50 years, 70 years of, well, 70 would be too far, but 50 years at least of professional wrestling. They did a music video to Frank Sinatra's My Way, highlighting his career. Beautiful tribute. And it also included Pat singing the song or clips thereof. I will admit I teared up. I met Pat Patterson one time. I was a young person, and he was nothing but gracious to me. But when you think about what he dedicated to the business, it was just insane, and he will be sorely missed. He had a good long life. I think he was 79 or 80, almost 80 years old, and certainly a respectable individual who went through a lot in his life. So rest in peace, Pat, wherever you may be. So there were angles on social media. Great place to do them. Not on a national television show. Not on week to week television episodically. No, social media is where we go. Johnny Gargano is on commentary at ringside. El Legado de Fantasma attacked Kurt Stallion, who's new to me, having seen him for I don't know that the first time. I think I've seen one or two of his indie matches, but I don't watch 205 Live, so he's new to me in that way. He's supposed to team with Leon Ruff, so Priest lays out Jacqueline Wild in another backstage skit before the show begins. Priest is replacing Stallion in teaming with Leon Ruff, and they face El Legado de Fantasma. Story is that Priest wants to protect Ruff so that he can gain the North American Championship himself on Sunday at TakeOver in the three-way with Johnny Gargano. And so NXT North American Champion Leon Ruff and Damian Priest defeats Santos Escobar and Raul Mendoza. Ruff pins Mendoza after a reckoning by Priest in time for the finish. Leon Ruff, nothing against the guy, but this comedy thing has got to go. Priest goes nuts on everybody, and he spots someone in the crowd dressed like the Scream monster. Gargano remarked on commentary that it's cool that a fan dressed up in character. Priest is distracted by the mask. Escobar blindsides him, takes him out, and sends him into the barricade. Priest is there to protect Ruff. Priest is ironically the one that actually, to a lesser degree, needs protection, at least a little bit, which is rather ironic for a number of reasons. Anyway, so Ruff is the ones that work over Priest quite a bit. Priest manages to get beat on through the commercial break. He fights back, but he's outnumbered. Ruff is down in the corner, and he's selling a knee strike, which seems to be like the new move of this iteration of wrestling right now. Knee strikes everywhere. Kenny Omega does them, and indie guys do them, and now, Gargano does them, and this guy doesn't. Guys, don't all get enamored with the same move at the same time. It's bad for business. Anyway, Ruff crawls back on the apron, and he's selling strikes from earlier on. Meanwhile, the heels tag and target Priest's leg for quite a bit. Priest comes back with a flatliner on Mendoza, then tags the champion. Champ comes in, goes nuts after the tag, yet he's unaware of the blind tag, and Ruff is able to tag out. Priest comes in, and clears house for a bit, and then Priest is going for his finish. Ruff makes a blind tag night, it appears. Priest delivers the reckoning, and Ruff manages to get the frog splash and the pin. So they do a hype for the War Games thing. Personally, I think doing War Games in front of no people is just stupid. It's predictable that they do it. It's unnecessary. Be creative. Slow your stories down, and actually take the time to use the pandemic as a reset. That's what a knowledgeable company would do. Anyway, Team Candice is backstage. Candice vows that her team will win. And Raquel Gonzalez has said that after that night, their team will have the advantage. Gonzalez says that Blackheart will feel like she gets run over by a tank. Ha ha ha, see what they did there. Cameron Grimes defeats August Gray. Grimes pins Gray after a cave-in. Gray gets in a little bit of offense, but this match was for Grimes to dominate. Grimes cuts a promo on Loomis ahead of their strap match. On Sunday, Grimes takes the leather strap and uses it in a demonstration, and he hooks the strap to the arm of Gray, and Grimes whipped him with it. Nice little promo here, but I mean, does anybody actually think that people are tuning in for Dexter Loomis? Like, does anybody that works for WWE believe that this guy would sell a ticket or a network buy? I don't, and I don't think anyone with even a quarter of a brain does either. Grimes is talking trash about Loomis during the whole time, and that he's got no place to run. Grimes is the one that's done all the running in the feud, so it's kind of ironic. He is yapping in the direction of the camera. Loomis replaces Gray. Loomis is now attached to the strap, and he's stalking Grimes. Grimes freaks out and manages to get pummeled. Grimes runs away, fleeing the whole thing. Then we go to Jake Atlas and Tony Nese. Haven't seen Tony Nese in a good while. Atlas pins Nese after cartwheel DDT. Good match. I love Jake Atlas. I think Jake Atlas is one of the guys that if they cared about the company, they would push and find a story for. Atlas dedicated the match to Pat Patterson, which is nice, but when the match seems like no one will remember it next week, I don't know what that dedication does for anybody. Atlas got to cut a promo in a post-match interview. Neither guy gets an entrance. They're just kind of there. Joined in progress, kind of like a house show on an episode of, like NWA Pro or Saturday Night or Primetime Wrestling or whatever. Show comes back from commercial with people in the ring, and during the match, there's a split screen, and Pat McCaffrey is arriving, so a third-string football guy matters more than two talented people who could help build your company. Yeah, that makes sense. He's arriving in a limousine. Atlas is cutting a promo post-match and said that this is just the beginning. He's going to keep moving forwards towards the goal of getting another shot at the Cruiserweight Championship. Blah promo. Pat McCaffrey, some people love him, some people hate him. I'm in the hate him crew, but I will admit he does get a reaction. They come to the ring for an in-ring promo. McCaffrey builds up his team for the War Games, basically says they're unbeatable, unstoppable, and the best stable in wrestling. He runs down the Undisputed Era. He does have the class to pay tribute to Pat Patterson. McCaffrey basically says that he, is a guy who is definitely worth taking a look at. Xia Li and Boa are on a skit, and they do a skit about their training methods. Grizzled young veterans are supposed to wrestle Everrise, Chase Parker, and Matt Martell. Imperium attacked Everrise before the match could start. Imperium lays out Everrise, and they stole the match. Imperium takes the place. Grizzled young veterans James Drake and Zach Gibson defeat or go to battle with Imperium, Marcel Bartel, and Fabian Aichner. This is a no contest. Everrise runs in, jumps them, and the match is just thrown out. Why even schedule a match if you're not going to have it? And the match itself is fine. Neither team is a babyface or a heel, so it's just kind of four guys doing moves. Viewers don't have any clue who they should cheer or who they should want to win or why. Grizzled young veterans could have gotten some momentum before we put them out there with no direction, and then they see back and forth. Aichner does a dive to the outside. Everrise runs down, hits the ring, attacking both teams. Ref calls for the bell, throws out the match. Everrise leaves the building, and then Parker and Martell hurried out of the building, and they get into a waiting car. And Everrise rules is what they yell as they leave. Tommaso Ciampa crashes Timothy Thatcher training seminar. Thatcher's Thatch Can, hosted by instructor Timothy Thatcher. He says today's lesson is on distractions. Thatcher turns out to address one of the students, and he's shocked to see Tommaso standing in the ring next to him. Thatcher tells Ciampa he already had a student who was also in the ring with them. Ciampa said he's there to learn, which I found funny. He said he's there to teach. Thatcher reiterated he had no problems with Ciampa, and Ciampa calls him a disappointment. Thatcher turns around and confronts him. This is just a goofy way to push this angle. Anyway, Thatcher said he knew Ciampa was trying to get under his skin. He said he wanted no trouble, and Thatcher shot on him with a leg dive. Ciampa knocks him down with a few forearms. Thatcher's student tries to sneak attack Ciampa. Ciampa and Thatcher chokes out Ciampa. He puts him to sleep and leaves him laid out. Thatcher is in a backstage interview, threatens Ciampa ahead of their match at TakeOver, which should be really good. Ariel Helwani joins Wade Barrett and Sam Roberts as co-host of the kickoff show for the show on Sunday. Then we go to the main event. Shotzi Blackheart defeats Raquel Gonzalez in a ladder match. Why do they do ladder matches on a weekly basis? Oh, yeah, because we're scared of AEW, but we don't want to admit it. Anyway, Blackheart wins the match after a bunch of distraction runs in. Team Shotzi now has the advantage going into War Games. The first time ever baby faces have an advantage going into War Games. Ladder comes involved early. Gonzalez